back in my day, we didn't have those fancy modern features like VRR or high refresh rates. But these days, it seems all you hear about are instantaneous response times this, 4K at 144Hz that, HDMI 2.1 on all 4 ports. What does it all mean? Hi, I'm Abby from Ratings.com, where today we're gonna cover the best gaming TVs you can buy in 2024. As always, our picks consider a few things, like price and availability. We don't just recommend the best TV regardless of the price. That would be too easy, since the most expensive models are also typically the better performing ones. No, we dive deep into the value proposition of each of these models to better guide you. And we usually recommend the best deal overall at each price point, or the best overall for most people. Just keep in mind that there's no perfect TV for everyone, as the best possible models varies on a case-by-case basis due to different viewing conditions. Although, with gaming, it's thankfully a bit more straightforward. You can find the written review with all the details for each TV mentioned here using the links in the description below. Alright, let's get into it. The best gaming TV for most people is the Samsung S90D OLED. Yeah, that one. The one that's always at the top. It comes with 4 full HDMI 2.1 bandwidth ports, all capable of 4K at 144Hz for you PC gamers with powerful rigs. And if you prefer your gaming on consoles, it does 120Hz just fine. It has incredibly low input lag with the nearly instantaneous response time that makes OLED so darn good for gamers. All that while making your games look really good too, due to its very wide color gamut and its fantastic OLED contrast. It's also very bright, and not just for an OLED, it's bright full stop. It also doesn't lose any of its brightness in game mode, which is always a win. And if you're looking for a TV to host large gaming parties, this is the TV for you, as its viewing angle is extremely generous. Your friends would have to be seated alone in a corner at an extreme angle to see a degraded image. It's not perfect, however, as it's a bit dimmer than we'd like when playing SDR games, of which there are still a lot out there. Any indie or Switch fans? Yeah, those are mostly in SDR. That's not to say it looks dim or anything, it really doesn't, but it doesn't look as vibrant as it does in HDR. It also doesn't support Dolby Vision, so no Dolby Vision gaming for those of you with Xbox consoles. Aside from that, it's just a hard TV to beat at its price point. Be careful when shopping for one though. The S90D is offered with QD OLED and WOLED panels depending on the model size and the region. Only the 55, 65, and 77-inch models have a QD OLED panel, so stick to those for the best image quality. Don't have a gaming cave, but a gaming solarium instead? Consider the most expensive and brightest TV on this list, the Sony Bravia 9. It's our best rated LED TV ever. Yes, it has that legendary Sony image processing we all know and love, but it also doesn't joke around when it comes to gaming performance, with its 2 4K at 120Hz HDMI ports. That's a step down from the S90D, sure, but you know what isn't? Sony's 4K at 120Hz Dolby Vision support, a great feature for those rocking Xbox consoles. When it comes to image quality, it's far brighter than the S90D, making it look way more vibrant in brighter room settings. This is especially true in SDR content. You like to play your Switch games docked and you don't love how many OLEDs make them look dim? They won't look dim on the Bravia 9. If anything, you might even need to turn down the brightness. And it's no slouch when it comes to contrast. Yeah, it's not an OLED and it doesn't have those perfect blacks, but it gets darn close. It also has very low input lag, and its response time is excellent, very fast for an LED TV. Look, there's no denying it. OLEDs are the kings of gaming at the moment, as their nearly instantaneous response time makes them very, well, responsive. Plus, while the Bravia 9 doesn't have the worst viewing angle ever, it's still rather tight, and it's not the best TV if you want to host Super Smash Bros. Gaming parties. There's also the fact that all that brightness comes at a pretty hefty price. So while this is assuredly a great TV, and an excellent choice if you're in a bright environment, it's also the most expensive TV on this list. Alright, after a short trip around the sun, otherwise called the Bravia 9, we're back with an OLED as our best mid-range pick, the LG B4. We've recently highlighted how close the B4 is to the C4 when it comes to overall performance, and for gaming, it's hard to justify going for the more expensive model. That's because the B4 doesn't lose any of its brightness in Game Optimizer mode, making it look just as vibrant when gaming as it is when watching Netflix, all for a cheaper price. So if you're a gamer, skip the C4 and go straight to the B4. Although PC gamers might want to consider the C4 due to its 4K at 144Hz support, as the B4 is limited to only 120Hz on all of its ports. At least it supports Dolby Vision on all of them, so take that, Samsung. And while the B4 is a step down from the Samsung S90D when it comes to image quality, as the Samsung is definitely brighter in HDR, the B4 is just as bright in SDR. So for those of you who mostly play SDR games, there isn't much of a point in going for the more expensive model. It does have worse reflection handling though, although it's still fantastic. The same can be said about its viewing angle. It's truly excellent, but decidedly a step down from our top pick. It's also noticeably less colorful than the S90D. But listen, it is cheaper. You're getting your money's worth with the B4, and it could very well be the best choice for anyone wanting the best bang for the buck gaming TV. Alright, so if you find the B4 a bit too rich for your blood, or maybe you just don't want an OLED, look at the even cheaper Hisense U7N. The U7N offers incredible value and performance for its price. You get 4K at 144Hz support on 2 of its HDMI ports. That's right, it's an even higher refresh rate than the B4 and the Bravia 9. Its response time is also a bit faster than the Bravia 9, albeit nowhere near as fast as the OLEDs. But it's sure fast enough to satisfy almost any gamer, especially with its incredibly low input lag. And this is a great choice for Xbox gamers due to its 120Hz Dolby Vision support. For picture quality, you won't be lacking. Its contrast is excellent, and it's extremely bright in HDR. Certainly brighter than the LG B4, and even brighter than the S90D in some content. Although the OLEDs still offer a better HDR experience overall due to their consistency and nearly perfect contrast. What the U7N does better, however, is to offer a very bright SDR image. This is one heck of a well-priced TV for your SDR games. Paired with its excellent reflection handling, it can handle very bright rooms very well. Yeah, it's an LED, so it doesn't have a good or even passable viewing angle, but again, if you really care about that, you really need to consider an OLED. Otherwise, gosh, the U7N almost feels like a steal. Alright, so your budget is a bit tight, and frankly, you don't really care about fancy gaming features. All you really want is for your new TV to look better than your old one. Enter the Hisense U6N. You're losing out on some gaming features, as this is the first TV on the list to not support 4K at 120 or 144Hz, although it can do 120Hz at 1080p and 1440p without VRR, making it a great option for those of you who care about refresh rate, but not resolution. Like every other TV on this list except the Samsung S90D, it supports Dolby Vision gaming with the Xbox, but only at 60Hz. That's because Xbox consoles only support HDR titles at 4K, so keep that in mind. As to be expected in this price bracket, you're definitely compromising on gaming features and picture quality, but not as much as you'd think. For a budget TV, this TV's contrast is fantastic due to its pretty solid local dimming solution. With local dimming enabled, its contrast is almost as good as the U7N. Sadly though, it is noticeably dimmer in HDR and SDR, and it just can't display colors as vibrantly as the U7N can. You're losing some pop here, absolutely. The U6N also doesn't have a wide viewing angle, and its reflection handling is just decent. But overall, it's a pretty incredible TV at this price point. So your budget is really tight, and you don't necessarily want a TV with any features. You want it to play games, and that's pretty much it. Well, look at the Roku Select series. It doesn't have any gaming features whatsoever, and no local dimming. It's decidedly not as bright as the other TVs on this list, and it's not as colorful either. It also doesn't support VRR. So what does it have? A great response time. This means that your games will feel very responsive on this TV without any fancy gaming features. And sometimes that's all you need. It's also bright in SDR, kind of making it a great TV for a retro gamer. After all, your classic SNES doesn't support VRR, so why should your TV? And of course, the best thing about the Roku is its price. It's cheap, very cheap. And frankly, for its cost, it delivers a lot of performance. This TV definitely looks better than most TVs bought during door crasher sales on Black Friday. So if you're looking for the cheapest product possible, go for this one. Well, that's it for the best gaming TVs to buy in 2024. There are a lot of great TVs that aren't on this list, like the LG G4, Hisense U8N, and Samsung S95D. You can also visit our website for other recommendations, like the best TVs overall or the best HDR TVs. So, which TV is the one for you? Do you agree or disagree with some of our picks? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Until next time, I'm Abby from Ratings.com, where we help you find the best product for your needs. You like to play with your Switch docks? No. You like to play your Switch games docked. You like to play with your Switch docks? I bought the Switch just to do that. Screw Breath of the Wild. 300 hours in Zelda? No, 300 hours of flipping the back cover open and close.